first off, what's your impression of GDC this year?
Well, I think GDC is interesting. It's interesting every year.
It's a sort of interesting, like it takes the temperature on the whole industry, or the state of the industry. And do you feel that there's something different about this year's?
Well, I certainly think that the continual evolution of social gaming, casual gaming, is shown throughout the library of classes and speakers that are giving their talks over the course of today and tomorrow, and that's a good thing. It shows that people want to game in more different ways, and that game makers are challenged to come up with ways to be able to entertain them.
That was also one of the topics of Satoru Iwata's keynote this morning.
It's an interesting position to be in Nintendo right now, to be able to have spawned so much growth of interactive entertainment and at the same time still have roots that are based in the core of what games are about, in terms of people are still clamoring for Zelda. And any announcement about Zelda gets people to stop what they're doing and to turn around and listen. So that's a good thing.
How is the current economic climate affecting the industry?
Well, I think in a couple of ways. I think on the consumer side, even though game demand seems to be constant and up, consumers are changing, players are changing what they want to play and what they want to buy. And I think as game makers, it means that games that, the real big AAA titles, there's fewer mega hits, and there's more fallout in terms of the middle range of just entertainment experiences. So for publishers and for developers, it's a challenge to figure out where that balance is in terms of what you want to make, what story and experience you want to bring, and where the market will be. And I think, again, the exercise of having a game developers conference is that people talk about these issues and look for solutions. And part of it is how do you rationalize team size, and how big of a team do you need to build the game and the experience you want to bring to the marketplace.
And we can see this this year. The Career Pavilion is a little bit smaller here, but I mean, there's a great demand for talented people in this industry.
There's a shortage of talent in this industry, and I think that's a sign of the general health of what goes on within game making. If you are a game-oriented engineer, you can be working at any one of the exhibitors that are downstairs in the Career Pavilion. If you're a lead production artist, you can probably find employment in a matter of moments. And I think that there is that demand. You're right. I think it is a little bit smaller, but I think that the general economy has had some impact in terms of overall attendance. I don't know that the Career Pavilion is really much smaller than it would have been.
So speaking of trends, you talked a little bit about the social gaming and that. Do you see any other big trends coming up?
Well, I certainly think that portable personal gaming is going to continue to grow, if not because of the iPhone and iPod Touch with the App Store. I think it's because people now really be able to expect to have interactive entertainment wherever they are. They have an electronic screen in their hand close to 24 hours a day. And if you like games, you want another little something to do for 15 minutes while you're queuing up for a bus or while you're at an airport. And the variety of things that you can offer today is just astounding. My colleagues Neil Young and Alan Yu from NG Moko, they have a number of games that are fascinating, to play on the iPod. The Rolando and certainly Field Runners from Subatomic, that's just all really good stuff, and that's a good trend. I
feel that part of that growth is just because the delivery system has been so much improved with App Store and things like that. It's something that perhaps we need to learn a lesson that sort of delivering the content is sometimes key rather than the content driving sales.
I think you're right. I think the proof point of Apple in general in terms of iTunes and how iTunes music, looking at music is now a leisure time activity. People don't necessarily buy as much as they look, but they spend hours combing through the catalogs of the iTunes store looking for something new, sample, and maybe they'll buy or they'll try. Amazon Music is certainly a good analog for that as well. I don't know that we have an Amazon for games yet. I don't think the App Store is there. I think that some of the things that the group that presented the OnLive device last night, Reardon technology, that really is very cool. The ability to be gaming PC games almost instantaneously on a low-end PC or a high-def television set is very exciting. And the fact that you can transact instantaneously and you have all these games to choose from at your fingertips is it's a good trend. It's a good thing to try and do, and it will probably spur others to try it as well. And with all that competition, it improves the opportunity for consumers to enjoy more games in more places.
Do you see, you mentioned iTunes, and of course we know that the music store has gone, towards its end. It seems like a lot of music stores are closing down. We had Virgin Megastores closing down right on the corner over there. So do you feel that the game stores are looking at a similar extinction, or do you see the retail stores living on despite the growth of digital download?
I personally believe that for people who love games, to where interactive entertainment is their first choice of how to spend time, the dedicated GameStop games in Europe are going to do just as well regardless of how digital distribution starts to come to the marketplace over the next couple of years. There's something about going into a store where you know there's 2 or 3 games that you were thinking about, and you're going to talk to the guy across the counter because you talk to him every time you go into the store, and you argue over whether it's this game or that game that you're going to buy. And I think you can't get that experience yet in an online distribution environment. And when you can start to have more of that social interaction as part of the transaction point, then you'll see a shift. But for the time being, to be able to go and peruse what's in the racks and decide, have those 2 games in your hand, you're looking at the cover, and you finally make the decision, I think that we're not going to give that up quite so easily.
At the same time, playing a demo might be even better.
There's no doubt that demos play an important role in terms of building a market for games. And you look at the amount of people who downloaded Resident Evil 5 when it was posted on Xbox and PlayStation. Those are big numbers. But that's exciting, and it shows the anticipation for certain titles. But there's also a market for things like Flower, which was only launched a few weeks ago for the PlayStation Network. And, it's sort of an art game, and it's easy, and it has a little moral to it. But, for the price point, you're going, why not? And it's beautiful and it's fun, so pricing does matter. And I think that when Gabe Newell gave the keynote at the Academy's DICE Summit in February, talked a lot about a small price difference can make a big difference in terms of what people will do in terms of his games, in terms of the things that are being sold on Steam. So, we are, regardless of the short-term economic nature of people having less money or being concerned about how they spend, if you can buy something for less, you tend to want to buy it more frequently. And I think games are no different.
Do you have any idea or thought on when the next generation of consoles might hit? And do you think that the timing has been affected by the current financial situation?
Well, I think the financial situation is one pause point, but I also think that there's so much to be learned still within the current generation of platforms, whether it's something as architecturally simple as the Wii. The new Motion Control Plus is going to give game makers a new tool to be able to affect how people interface with the games on the other side of the screen. And there's a lot of horsepower left within the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 that people are still enjoying how to explore. So I think that's a good thing.
I'd like to thank you for your time, and have a great GDC.
You have a great GDC and safe journeys back.